Hello, guys. Welcome in. Good to have you here. Welcome in. Hope everyone's having a good Saturday. Feel free to leave some comments. Basically, the plan today is we're going to. I'll just be answering all your questions throughout the stream, and I'll try to answer as many of them as I can as we go along. And then for the last 15, maybe 10, 15 minutes or so, I'll show you guys what I'm doing with my team, the transfers that I'm going to be making, and we'll go from there, essentially. Yeah, so come on in, leave your comments below if you have any questions. Feel free to shoot them my way, and I'll do my best to give you some sage advice. Yeah, really excited for the games this week. Really excited. I think it'll be an interesting week because if Salah doesn't play, then everyone's vice captain will come into play, and that's always interesting. Um, but yeah, there's also a lot of injuries. There's a lot of suspensions. I mean, there's basically only a few forward options in FPL now that are worth considering. So it's quite an interesting point that we're at now. Okay, we have a few coming in now. So Bindir Nat says, bro, Dango or Nico Williams? Seems like an interesting option, like either a midfielder or a defender. I think you mean to bench or start. Yeah, I would definitely start Dango against Spurs. They're a shaky defense, and Nico Williams plays Man City, who are a pretty good attack at the best of times. So, yeah, I would say start Dango. Roger says sell Robinson or Trent for Munoz. I would sell Robinson. If you look at Fulham's upcoming fixtures, in fact, I can get them up for you now. Yeah, there are better fixtures out there. Essentially, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at Castagne, but for the sake of this, I'll show you Robinson's fixtures as well. Yeah, I mean, look at those fixtures. They're pretty tough. Some pretty attacking sides on the way for Fulham. So yeah, I would get rid of if you want to get Munoz in, then definitely go for get rid of Robinson and get Munoz in if that's what you're looking to do. BMAC, morning to you too. Start Rat. Is that supposed to be Ryan 8 Nuri maybe? I believe. I'm gonna guess that it is. Sorry, let me get this sorted again. Get the window in the right place so you guys can properly see my team. There we go. Okay, now that that's sorted, I'll get this back up. If your question is between 8 Nuri and Gabriel, I would say Arsenal. Like start Gabriel because Arsenal always have a better chance of keeping a clean sheet than Wolves. Obviously, Wolves play Everton, so an easier fixture than against Man United. But Man United, we've seen this season, their attack can be fairly toothless at the best of times. So I would start Gabriel there. Joe Smith, you plan on keeping Robinson after this game week? So it's a good question. For me, it's one of those things where I just have so many other fires to put out. Like you can see Hall and Gakpo on my bench. Like Robinson, after this game week, I probably will end up just keeping him until I wildcard, just because I can kind of bench him. And obviously, when I wildcard, he'll be out of my team just because of the fact that the fixtures to end the season for Fulham are very tough. And from game week 31 onwards, they're not the best. So there's definitely better defensive options to go for. But I've literally had him all season. Like I've got him from game week 1. I've never sold him. So he's been a dutiful servant to the team. Nabinder says, thank you, mate. Thanks for coming along. Hopefully I helped. Eric says, hey, mate, should I start Sells and Milenkovic over Bruggen and Robinson? So I would definitely start between Sells and Verbruggen. So let me just get the fixtures up on my phone because I keep forgetting. It's actually a bit of a tough one. I would say one thing that I like to do, and that I'm actually going to pull up on the screen now so that you guys can kind of see as well. There's this guy on Reddit who posts the clean sheet odds from Check the Chance, which is an FPL website and general betting website. So like when I'm making these benching decisions, I like to kind of look at this So I'm going to save the image because I can't zoom out, unfortunately. But let me save the image and let me grab it here. And I'll just pull it out like this. So yeah, essentially, guys, this is not working. But yeah, essentially, if we look, actually those are the goal scorer odds. Sorry, let me get the clean sheet odds. So yeah, when I make these benching decisions, I try to sort of do it this way. I know it's not, it's never, you know, for sure, but when I'm making the decision between like who to start between certain defenders, certain attackers, it just makes more sense to look at the bookies odds and see who's more likely to get a clean sheet. And that's usually a pretty decent way to go about things. So yeah, as we can see, so let me go back to your question, which was Eric, to start Sells over Bruggen. So when we look at this, I'm saying, okay, I want to start Sells over Bruggen. Where's Nottingham Forest? Nottingham Forest have a 22% chance of a clean sheet, and Brighton have a, I can't see, oh yeah, 25% chance. So not a big difference, but just based off that, I'd go for Bruggen. And then obviously between, that's, you know, easy for keepers. Then when we're actually considering defenders like Milenkovic or Robinson, I would say, you know, Robinson obviously has the clean sheet potential. So when we look at Forest versus Fulham, Fulham actually have a 29% chance. So I would start Robinson and Verbruggen if I was doing that, just because I do think Man City will score, and you don't want that double clean sheet to be wiped out. So that would be my advice, and hopefully you can kind of see my thought process there. So hopefully that helps, Eric. Yo Henry says, hey Gallagher, hello. Would you do Cunha to Wood now or play Dango this week? Oh, that's actually a good one. I would do Cunha to Wood now, because I just think Dango is a bit of a minutes risk, and the fact that Wood is on penalties makes me think that it makes sense to go for him now. But if you delay and play Dango, that could also work in your favour. I just think Wood is obviously, you know, the pickup for Wood is the best time is next week when they play Ipswich. But Man City aren't, you know, they have been very good defensively the past 3 game weeks, but it's a small sample size. I would say I think Chris Wood is a good shout. Yeah, I would do it. Roger, thanks mate. No, thank you mate. Thanks for coming along, dropping in the questions. Wing Chun says, Palmer captain, I expect Salah to start the match but only play the first half. So I actually agree. I think he'll only play the first half, or maybe at most like 60 minutes. But alas, Salah against Southampton for 60 minutes, it's just too good for me. I think the best player in the league playing against the worst defence in the league, no matter how many minutes he plays, even if it's 45, I'd almost prefer him to Palmer playing 90 minutes against Leicester, just based off the form that Palmer's been in. Yeah, I would say I'm going to keep it on Salah. Yeah. BMAC, yes, 8 Nuri. Okay, good, I got that right. Nelson says, hello, who is the best Mateta replacement? Well, I would say probably Wood. Probably Wood is the best replacement. If you already have him, then I would say Wissa is another one to consider, or Marmouche. Those are like my top 3 favourites. Sam says, Dango, Pedro, Mikolenko, bench 1. Pedro, is that João Pedro? I think you're saying João Pedro. Yeah, I would bench Mikolenko there. Mohammed Daniel Hasif says, start Mikolenko or Huijsen. I would start Mikolenko there. Yeah, I would start Mikolenko. I think Spurs can always score, so I'm not sure about Bournemouth keeping a clean sheet. But Wolves, Everton play Wolves, and Wolves don't have Cunha, so he's a massive hole in their attack now. Joe Smith, thanks. Keep up the great content. I look forward to the notification every week. Listen, Joe, glad to have you. Appreciate the kind words. Bader AA says, my bench is Hall, Cunha and Ahmad, and I have Isak, Salah, Trent, 3 free transfer. Roll or use my free transfers. Yeah, I mean, you have Hall in your team, and he's just going to be, he's injured for the rest of the season, so that's a clear, a clear sell. You do have Isak. It depends on who your other attackers are like and who your defense is, whether you want to get rid of Hall or Cunha right now. I would say just get rid of Hall because you know he's out for the rest of the season. Whereas Cunha does come back, you know, in game week 31. You will probably sell him next week anyways, but you have you can just get rid of both of them, honestly. 3 free transfers, Hall and Cunha out. Get something like whoever you want to replace Hall. I mean, the 3 that I'm considering are Gvardiol, Aitnuri, or Milenkovic at Forest. And then for Cunha, you can get Wood or Wissa or Marmoush. So, you know, pick your poison there. But yeah, I think you should definitely get rid of both of those, especially with Isak in the team. We don't know, will he play? We'll find out soon come. But in fact, let me set a little alarm on my phone so that we can see, you know, so I make sure that I don't miss the deadline or anything while I get distracted with your guys' questions. So yeah, keep rolling the questions in. Hopefully I can offer some sage advice. On to the next question. Nihar Naik says, my current team is Verbruggen. Okay, you've just given your full team there. I have 4 transfers. Should I roll this week or make a change? Let's see your team. So you have Verbruggen, nice. Gabriel, Kirkes, Collins, Mbuemo, Kluivert, Palmer, Salah, Rogers, Isak, Wood, and benches Hall and Cunha. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely make a transfer with Hall and Cunha now. Like I said with the last guy, who was it? Bader. Yeah, Hall and Cunha out. I mean, Hall's out for the rest of the season. Cunha's out for the next 3 weeks. I would say get those recommendations which I gave for Hall, which was Gvardiol, Aitnuri, and Milenkovic, and for Cunha, Wood, Marmoush, or Wissa. Those are my favourite 3 replacements for those 2 players. ABC Burke says, hi Gallagher, hello. I'm asking for game week 29. I currently have 3 Palace, 2 Newcastle, and 2 Liverpool players. Do you think it's worth using a free hit rather than taking hits? Okay, so you've 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players blanking. So ABC Burke, if you could also leave a comment with how many free transfers you have, because that'll help us, you know, make a decision in terms of how many hits you will take to you know, field maybe not a starting 11 with. I mean, if you have 5 free transfers, then we can make it happen. But you have 7 players blanking, and I would say if you can get, you know, if you can start 10 players, that would be worth it. Like you wouldn't need to take a free hit. So if you can make 3 free transfers and maybe one of them is a -4, I would say it's worth it, because you have a free transfer this week and a free transfer next week, right? So you can already get down to 5 players blanking at that stage, and then it's just about if you want to take another hit to get rid of one of them. So I don't think you need to take a free hit, but let me know how many. Okay, you just responded there. You have 2 free transfers. Perfect. So yeah, I would say you have 2 free transfers. You can use 2 of them this week, and then you have another next week, which means you've already gone down to 4 players blanking, which means you can start 10 players. I don't think you need a free hit. I think it's worth saving it for a later game week. Okay, great. On to the next question. Or Eric, legend, thanks mate. No problem at all, mate. Glad to have you here. A. Lamau, what do you think about Milenkovic to Aitnuri, mate? So, to be honest, I'm actually thinking of getting Milenkovic in. So, I don't think he's a necessary sell. I do think Aitnuri is a good pickup. I just don't think you should be selling Milenkovic to get him in, because I think it's a good time to own some Forest players. They play Ipswich next week, so I wouldn't want to sell a Forest defender before that. Yo, Henry, top man. Listen, mate, glad to help. Ajin SL says, Mitoma, Kluivert, Semenyo, Wood, Wissa. Select 1 to bench. Okay, this is an interesting one. So, in terms of who I definitely would start, I would start Kluivert and Wood, the 2 penalty takers. And then between Mitoma, Semenyo, and who is the other one? Mitoma, Semenyo, and Wissa. So I'm just pulling up the fixtures again. So, yeah, I mean, I would maybe bench Semenyo. I think because I'd want to start Mitoma with the form that Brighton are in, and then Bournemouth have the away fixture, and then Wissa has the home fixture as well. So yeah, I would bench Semenyo in that case. Hopefully that helps. G Van Gill, why is Neto captain not rated higher considering it's his birthday as well? Lads, we did not consider the birthday effect. If you looked at my my last video, I do a captaincy ranking towards the end of every video, and I actually had Salah first, Palmer second, and Neto third. I do think he's a great shout. If you like the punt and you want that birthday effect to come in, then yeah, I would almost say Neto in some instances could be a better pick than Palmer this week. just because he's playing up top, you know? Obviously, he's not on penalties, so that's always something to consider. But yeah, I agree. Neto should be rated higher considering, like you said, it's his birthday and he's playing up top for Chelsea against Leicester at home. What's not to like? Maybe the fact that Salah plays Southampton at home. Okay, on to the next question. Moaz Yagan, bench Dango or Gakpo? I would bench Gakpo there. He's definitely more of a minutes concern. Adrian Vidinov, would you start Castagne over Mikolenko? No, I would start. I think Brighton will score. As you can see, I have double Fulham defense here, but I will change that before the deadline because I'm going to get rid of Hall and I'll probably only start Robinson. But yeah, I would start Mikolenko against Wolves, who don't have Cunha. So I don't think Wolves will be as potent an attack as they usually are without Cunha. He's just such a miss for them. Is a big a big ask for excuse me, for Wolves to score there without Cunha. Why are you starting Robinson over Kirkes? The reason I'm doing that is Fulham have a higher clean sheet odds than Bournemouth do. And this is basically, I use these clean sheet odds from the bookies to make a lot of my benching decisions. So yeah, I suppose that answers the question, but essentially that is why. Yeah. And I also just think, yeah, Spurs away, it's not an easy fixture for Bournemouth. Okay, I'll keep flying through these questions. You guys keep sending them in. Hopefully I can answer all of them. So, would you start Rodgers or Wood? I would start Wood just because he's on penalties. And also, like, Aston Villa, I mean, Rodgers has been playing a lot of minutes. He obviously will start, but they have so many options in attack. You don't know if he'll get an early sub. Whereas Wood will play the full game and maybe get a penalty. So, yeah. Ronnie also asking why Robinson over Kirkes. Like I said before, I just think based off the clean sheet odds, Fulham have a higher percentage chance of a clean sheet than Bournemouth do. Yeah. What would you do if you have Gakpo but not too happy with your first sub? That's a good point. It depends on who your first sub is, AP UK. Maybe let me know who your first sub is, and I'll answer your question. So yeah, leave that comment below, and I'll try to get to you there in terms of whether to bench Gakpo or not. I'll let you know. Sean, so hey mate, I have both Cunha and Ndiaye unavailable to play. Should I transfer in Beto for Ndiaye or play Mikolenko in a 4-5-1 and roll the transfer? Okay. That's a tough one. It depends on what the rest of your team looks like in terms of your defenders, your three different defenders. But what I would say is that I would get rid of Ndiaye, and I do think Beto is a good replacement. He's not like one of my favorite replacements for a forward right now, but obviously budget constraints, etc., etc. Yeah, I think a swap from Ndiaye to Beto makes sense here, and play the striker against Wolves. I just think there's higher upside going for the attacker against Wolves than going for the defender, because a clean sheet will wipe everything out, but Beto always has a chance to score. So that's my advice there. Hi mate, okay, BMVC 1984, hello. If you had assistant manager chip, what would be the best time to play it? I'm glad you asked. So I actually, in my last video, did a full section on when to play it, and how I'll say it is that there's two situations. Either you have your wildcard on your free hit, or you don't. So if you do have your wildcard on your free hit, I think the best time to use it is game week 36 to 38 for the assistant manager chip. The reason for that is because between, let's say, game week 31 to 34, there's 2 doubles and a blank. So I think having the wildcard and the free hit for that period is really helpful to navigate those tough game weeks, you know. And then you can use the assistant manager chip at the end of the season, and there is still some good options to use there. I think Spurs is a good pick towards the end of the season based off the fixtures, and their table position gets them some table bonus. But in the other situation that you have already used your wild card, your free hit, I would say the best time to use assistant manager chip is game week 31 to 33. That way you cover the game week 32 and 33 doubles. So essentially you're getting 5 fixtures out of it. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Zohaib Mohammed says, Cunha replacement for the next 3 game weeks. Wissa, Wood, Beto, Marmoush. Yeah, those are the best 4 options for sure. In terms of my ranking of those, I would say Wood is my favorite. Followed by, I quite like Marmoush. I do quite like Marmoush. I think he's a nice high upside pick. Followed by Wissa. It's a close one between Wissa and Marmoush, but Wood is my favorite. Followed by Marmoush, then Wissa, then Beto. Trey says, would you start João Pedro or Semenyo? João Pedro or Semenyo? I would start João Pedro there. He's been on form. He's been on good form, and he's on penalties, so that's always nice. Ryan S says, start Robinson, Bissaka, or Neco Williams, mate. Okay, I wouldn't start Neco Williams. It's between Robinson and Bissaka. Let's look at these clean sheet odds again. So we have Fulham here, and West Ham, 36%. Yeah, go for Bissaka. He's been attacking really well as well. Like, he's been getting into good positions, so he's pretty low owned as well. I think when it comes to those kind of like toss of the coin benching decisions, I like to go for the lower owned player in the case that, you know, it makes sense and I think they'll have a higher likelihood of a clean sheet. I'd start Wan-Bissaka there, Ryan. Jack E, Beto or Wissa? Ooh, that's actually an interesting one. I think I like Wissa. I just think Brentford are a more attacking team than Everton, so I would go for Wissa. Morgan D, 4 free transfers. Should I sell Cunha even if it forces extra moves when I get Haaland? You 4 free transfers. First of all, fair play. You know, that's a great spot to be in. Excuse me, guys. Okay, 4 free transfers. Sell Cunha. I mean, if it forces extra moves, I just think, you know, you have 4 free transfers, so you can play around with it a bit. I think getting rid of Cunha, it's very team dependent who you have, you know, starting over him right now. But I've already said, if you are going to get rid of Cunha, which I think in your situation you can, yeah, Wood is my favourite, followed by Marmoush and then Wissa. Madrista is, hi, start Kluivert or Bowen? Kluivert or Bowen? I would say, that's a tough one. I would probably start Bowen. I think I would go for Bowen there. I know, like, Newcastle, they have some injuries. They're dealing with a lot right now. Yeah, I'd go for Bowen there. Matchday Minute says, Cunha to Wissa or play both Kirkez and Mikolenko? I like Cunha to Wissa there. I always prefer the forward transfer to get a high upside pick. Ariaman Bardwaj says, when to use wildcard, free hit, and assistant manager if no bench boost? Okay, interesting. Here we go. So you have your wildcard, your free hit, and your assistant manager. I think you can still sort of follow the strategy that I discussed in my last video, where you use your wildcard in 31. You can navigate the 32 and 33 doubles with that wildcard and some free transfers. And then you can free hit in 34 and then save your assistant manager for the tail end of the season. And based off your team, yeah, it looks good for the next 3 game weeks. So I would say, yeah, wildcard in 31 and then follow those steps. Laugh Lab says, start Sells or Kepa? Very quickly over to our little tab here. So Sells has a 22% chance of a clean sheet. Bournemouth have a 21% chance. So, like, honestly, there's nothing in it. I would actually, you know, ignore the percentages there, just based off the info we have on recent form for both Man City and for Spurs. So for the teams that Sells and Kepa are playing against respectively, you see Spurs couldn't even score against AZ Alkmaar in the Eredivisie. Not that they're a bad team whatsoever, but, you know, compared to Man City, I just think Man City have a higher chance of scoring than Spurs do right now. So I would start Kepa. Hopefully that helps. Nelson says, sorry, yeah, I couldn't pronounce your last name. I'll just go for Nelson for now. Best Gordon replacements. It's not something that I've considered really, because it's quite team specific in terms of if you're free hitting, when you plan to wildcard. I'd say blanket statement would be, right now, Bournemouth midfielders are a great pickup. I like Kluivert. Yeah, I would say Kluivert is top of the pops right there. Sean says, following from my previous question. Sorry, mate. Let me just read your previous question before I read this. You have Cunha and Ndaya. Transferring Beto for Ndaya. Okay, so then the follow-up. You have Munoz, Trent, and Gabriel as your defenders. Okay, yeah. Okay. I would say, based off that info, your defense is in a pretty good spot. You know, like, I think that's probably 3 clean sheets right there with Munoz, Trent, and Gabriel. In that case, the other option was to play Mikolenko in a 4-5-1 and roll the transfer. Okay, mate, actually, now that you've said that, I would recommend, you know, you only have 1 free transfer, which does change things. You might need to take a hit next week to field 11 players. Oh, yeah, in that case, 100% save the free transfer, play Mikolenko instead of making a forward transfer. Unless, of course, I mean, like, Cunha isn't going to play next week anyways, so you're probably going to transfer him in next week. So essentially, you're going to use that free transfer. It doesn't matter when you use it, this week or next week. So when I think about it in depth, I actually think that you should sell Cunha anyways, because if you need to field 11 players, he's not going to be one of them anyways. So do the forward transfer is my recommendation. Do the forward transfer for Cunha or Ndaya. Either of them aren't going to play anyways. Yeah, I like the high upside of doing a forward transfer in that case. Juan Manuel Vasquez says, hi, with Cunha, Allison, Trent, Salah, Hull, Isak, and 2 free transfers. Advice for this game week. Okay, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players that are blanking in game week 29. So Juan, what I would say is you do have 2 free transfers, so you're in a really good spot. Cunha and Hall are the obvious ones to get rid of this week. And you can use those 2 free transfers right now to do so. I would say get either, so Cunha to one of, in order of my preference, it's Wood, Marmoush, then Wissa. And then the Hall, I don't really have an order of preference right now. It's very budget dependent, but I like Gvardiol, Aitnuri, and Milenkovic. So I would do those 2 free transfers. That will leave you with only 4 players blanking next week, and you'll get another free transfer. So you can figure that out, or you can just keep all those 4, the 3 Liverpool players and Isak, and just play with 10 men. I think that's fine. Offside Footy F1. Morning, mate. Great stream so far. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I love to see your comments on my videos every week, so glad to have you back. Whom would you bench among these 3 this game week? Wood, Gvardiol, Aitnuri. Oh, mate, that's a tough one. I would start Wood. I think it's between Gvardiol and Aitnuri. If you're starting Wood, I wouldn't start Gvardiol. So you're either starting one of those 2 because you want the high upside of, starting the player. You don't want to start a forward against one of your defenders. That's always a tricky situation. You want to hope that Wood scores. And if he does, then if you had Gvardiol starting, you'd be like, oh, why the fuck did I do that, So I would start Wood and Aitnuri. That would be my advice. Yusuf says, do I start Kirkes or Dango? I would start Dango there. I think Bournemouth have a higher chance of Dango scoring than keeping a clean sheet. That would be what I would have to say. Mohammed Mia says, hi, would you play Sarr ahead of Wood, Isak, or Watkins? No, I would start Wood, Isak, and Watkins over Sarr. Yeah. Although Sarr does play Ipswich. No, I just think those 3 players up top, they're so much more likely to get goal involvement than Sarr, no matter who they're playing against. So yeah, I would bench Sarr in that case. Makej Finiki says, sorry if I butchered your name, by the way. You said, is Gakpo surely not starting, or is it just a prediction? I mean, everything right now is just a prediction, but based off what I've seen, in fact, you know what? I'll show you guys what I have seen, because there's someone on Twitter who is brilliant at these team predictions. In fact, she just puts everything together from a load of really what she says are reliable sources, and they have a good track record of predicting lineups. So if we go to the Liverpool lineup very quickly, we can see that. Let me actually X out there. Yeah, we can see that Gakpo only has a 3% chance of starting. So not a good omen for Gakpo. I would say he's very unlikely to start. I'd say we'd all be very surprised if he did. Let's put it that way. And I have him benched right now. I really wish he was available because I held him all this time, and I was like, oh, I'll hold him for that Southampton fixture. That would be tasty. But here we are. That's football for you, isn't it? That's FPL. BMVC 1984 again. Thank you for your answer about assistant manager. No problem at all. In this case, I just have free hit, not wildcard, bench boost, and assistant manager. So do you have 2 teams, or what's going on there? Yeah, advice stays the same. Try to navigate the doubles. Well, actually, you know what? I would say if you don't have wildcard, yeah, you can assistant manager from 31 to 33, and then use your free hit in 34. Boom. Sorted. Got Palmer already. Will you transfer Kluivert out for Neto? Nah. No, I would keep Kluivert. I actually think Kluivert is a buy right now. Like I would say keep Kluivert for sure. Is there other midfielders that, like, if you really want to get Neto in, maybe there's other midfielders in your team that if you could reply with the rest of your midfield, I'll have a look. But yeah, I think definitely keep Kluivert and Palmer. Let me know who the other three are. I imagine one of them is Salah. So yeah, let me know. Armchair Critic says start two of Beto, Rogers, and Semenyo. That's a tough one. I would say start. I would say bench. Probably Semenyo there. Yeah. Ashwin Barman says, hi Gallagher, Robinson or Mikolenko? I'd start Mikolenko there. Crown says, best Mateta replacement for the next 3 weeks if buying this week, Wissa or Beto or Wood or Marmoush? For me, it's got to be Wood. Big man Wood. I know he plays City this week, but hey, you can score against anyone. He only needs one shot. One shot's all it takes for Wood. Aminose Memento Mori says, hello, I'm new to this channel, but great content. Well, thank you very much. Glad to have you. Appreciate the kind words. R. Campbell says, bench Tarkowski or Kirkes. Cheers, mate. Yeah, I would bench Kirkes there. I think Everton can keep a clean sheet in this match against Wolves. Amen. Amen says, start Dango or Marmoush. Oh, I would start Marmoush there. Yeah, I'd start Marmoush. Just based off an expected minutes prediction in my head. I think Marmoush's minutes right now are a bit more secure. Obviously, it's Pep Roulette, mate, so be ready for that to fist you. But yeah, that would be my advice right now. Marine Capiche, João Pedro, Konate, Colwill, ranking order for first 11. João Pedro, and then, well, actually, no, Konate for sure, and then João Pedro, and then Colwill, I would say. It's a tough one, actually. You know what? It's a good question. It's a good one, because obviously Konate and Colwill have a good chance of keeping a clean sheet. Definitely Konate does. So then it becomes between, João Pedro and Colwill. I always like to start a penalty taker, so yeah, I would say in the order you currently have, João Pedro, Konate, Colwill. Yeah. Story of a Song says, I have one free transfer and this is my team. What do you think I should do? I'm a bit lost. So you said Henderson, Dubravka, Timber, Konsa, Young, Robinson, Murillo, Semenyo, Palmer, Salah, Bruno, Bowen, Wissa, Welbeck, Isak. Okay, so your forward line is good. You have Wissa, Welbeck. He's a pick, but you have Isak as well. Your midfield looks great, I must say. Semenyo, Palmer, Salah, Bruno, Bowen. You're in a good spot there. So when I look at your team, the defense is a bit of an issue. I would say like Timber, Konsa, Young, Robinson, Murillo. It's not terrible at all. You have one free transfer. I would say the key for you is maybe getting rid of Young, because he'll blank next week. So yeah, get rid of Young, get in maybe Aït-Nouri, I would say. That would be my advice. Stephen Senna says, thanks for the great content. I've been enjoying it. No problem at all, Stephen. Great name, by the way. Hanman1. Well, Hanman, what's the crack? Where are you now, actually, in FPL? Leave that in the comment, and I'll verify with the ranks here. But last time I checked, you're still in like the top 1K. But Mateta to Beto, sell Henderson this week or keep this week and sell next week. Mateta to Beto I like. So Henderson, oh yeah, I guess, who do they play? They play Ipswich, yeah. I would keep Henderson this week for sure, and sell him next week. And then you want either Beto or Pedro. Yeah, I like Beto, mate. I like Beto. I think he, Everton can do bits against Wolves. It's always a possibility. Yeah, let me know what your rank is, by the way. I would keep Henderson this week against Ipswich for sure. 1.3k, poor stuff now. I mean, lad, you're talking to me. You're talking to me over here. 220k. So nothing to cry about there. Do not worry about it. All right, Nelson. I only have 2 free transfers. Whom would you keep this game week amongst Gordon, Hall, and Mateta? I mean, all of them are fucked, lad. So I would, I would get rid of Gordon and Hall because, well, it's actually a tough one, because the reason I said that is because Mateta is due to be back at some point, right? We know Hall is out, so he's definitely gone. For me, it's between getting rid of Gordon or Mateta. I would probably get rid of Gordon just because he's guaranteed suspended, whereas Mateta, we don't know. He could come back at any moment. So I would say, I would get rid of Gordon and Hull. And I was hesitant there because obviously they have, Gordon has that double in 32 and then 33. So yeah, I just think because he's guaranteed out, whereas Mateta is like, you know, he could just miraculously come back for game week 30 or something. That would be my advice. Juan Manuel Vasquez, hi again. Hello, mate. Allison replacement. Jose Sa will be fine. So what I will say is that hold out on that transfer because Allison plays Southampton this game week. So I wouldn't sell Allison. Next week, I would replace him with Sells, who plays Ipswich. So that's a great entry point. R. Campbell, one more question, mate. No problem at all. Got a benching headache over Isak, Wood, Wissa, Kluivert, Sar, or Bruno. So how many do you need to start there? The first one I'm thinking of is, mate, Bruno. I would say bench Bruno. I know he's like more expensive than half those players, like everyone except Isak, basically. But like Arsenal, I think will keep a clean sheet, and I just don't think Man United are in the type of form that you want to be starting them against Arsenal. After that, I would say probably Sar is another one I'd be benching if you have to bench two of them. So, bro, don't be boring, and Captain Palmer for the boys. I've gotten vice captain, so I don't know, is that good enough, mate? For me, like, it's a tough one, but when you boil it down to you know. Sorry, let me just answer Campbell's question really quickly. Just one to be benched, then I would bench Bruno. I know it sounds mad, but the rest of the fixtures are good enough for those other guys, and Bruno's is the worst fixture, and they're not in good form. But Lead Crew, going back to what you said about benching, Captain and Palmer for the boys, that is a for the boys pick for sure. What I will say is, Salah is the best player in FPL, maybe ever, and this season he's on a record-breaking season. Southampton are on a record-breaking season for how bad they've been defensively. So we're essentially talking about captaining the best player in the history of the game against one of the worst defences in the history of the Premier League. You gotta captain him. Even if he just plays one half, like 45 minutes, it's gotta be Salah. So I know it's boring, but I just want more points at the end of the day, you know? I just want more points, and I think Salah will get me those. So that's my little piece of advice there. Haman goes Hoyson or Milenkovic. Very quickly, I'll show you the clean sheet odds. So, wait, what? How do? Is this? This is game week fucking 27, lads. There we go. Let me go back to there we go. Let me get up this guy's account real quick. Does he have the game week 28 clean sheet odds? Here we go, lads. Okay. Save image as. Alright, let me get these up. Boom. Get rid of these. So I'm going to answer your question now, Haman. Let me just quickly get these. Yeah, these are the clean sheet odds. So we have, your question was Hoyson, who was it again? Hoyson or Milenkovic. So it looks like Bournemouth have a 17% chance of a clean sheet. Nottingham Forest also have a 17% chance of a clean sheet. Yeah, I would start Hoyson. I think 17% chance is low for like, you know, playing against Spurs. I think Spurs are less likely to score than Man City. That's my summary. I'm gonna go back up and answer a few of the questions previously that I skipped over. So 00Dave00 says Aina or Kirkez. I would start Kirkez there. Bench one, Kirkez or Robinson, says Greg. I would bench probably Kirkez there. Again, based off the clean sheet odds, like who has higher chance? Fulham has a slightly higher chance of a clean sheet. So I would start Robinson there and bench Kirkez. Offside footy again. Absolutely love your videos, mate. Nope. I really appreciate it. I love your comments every week. Top analytical approach you have with serious ball knowledge. When are you planning to use wildcard? Your bench looks quite dead, mate. To say the fucking least, my bench is absolutely shambolic right now. My plan is to wildcard in 31, and I can actually navigate the next 3 game weeks without you know, needing a wildcard early, just because, you know, I have one free transfer, so immediately I'm gonna have, you know, another defender on my bench. The issue isn't really with the defenders; it's more with Gakpo. Like, I want to transfer him out this week, but I'm just in a tricky spot. Like, I don't think he'll start. So should I just go for Wood straight away, or like, it's only a thought I've been having this morning. Like, my plan was like, get rid of Hall, and if you watch my video, I was like, I need to get rid of Lewis Hall, I let the price drop for him because it didn't affect me based off my selling price for him because it was an odd number, so I was able to let him fall anyways to save some more time to make a decision. The more I think about it, I'm like, okay, Gakpo isn't gonna play this week. He may get a few minutes. Hall will not play for the rest of the season. Let's say I got Gakpo in. I got Wood in for Gakpo. Who would I bench? You know, like it would cause an immediate benching headache. And like, will Wood score against Man City? I don't have Wood. I haven't had him for a while. I got him out of my team at the worst time possible, hence my rank. But alas, yeah, I was like, if I get Wood in now, I'm gonna have to bench like Wissa against Villa, and I quite like that fixture for him. Or like Kluivert against Spurs again. I like that for them. So it's a tricky one. But then again, if I got rid of Hall for, let's say, like Vardy or Eight Nuri, then I would be able to not play double, Fulham defense, or I wouldn't have to play Kirkes against Spurs, who I think could always score. I think I will get rid of Hall, and then I have another free transfer to get Wood in for Gakpo next week when Wood plays Ipswich, which is obviously a nice one. And then at that point, I get another free transfer, and I can do something in game week 30 for it. I could even roll the transfer from what I've seen with my team in game week 30. Then I'm wildcard in 31. So I know the bench is looking a bit shaky, but I'll be okay. From what I've looked ahead, I think I'll be okay. So let me get back. That was a little ramble there about my team. Let me get back to the important stuff, which is your guys' teams. So Mohamed Hasib Hassan Khan. That's a great name. I have Mateta, Ndaya, Hall with 2 free transfers. Whom should I sell? Ndaya and Hall, I would sell. Keep Mateta. We don't know when he'll be back. He could be back sooner rather than later. But Hall is out. Ndaya is out. I'd get rid of those 2. Mohamed Nusrat says, would Kanate start against Southampton or start Rodgers instead? I'd start Kanate against Southampton there. Stephen Gill, do you take chances conceded into account when making decisions? Yeah, for sure. I guess like expected goals conceded is essentially chances conceded, but in expected data format. So I take that into account a lot. Hadley Walton says, start Dango or 8 Nuri? I'd start Dango there. Always prefer to start the attacker. R. Campbell, just want to be benched. Oh yeah, I already answered that question. Haman, I got you already. Leet Crew, if you want to keep up your ranks from the last 3 years, got to take some risks at this point, surely. I 100% agree. Yeah, I just think there's a difference between taking risks and wanting to get the most points. So like, I just think, risking it against Salah against Southampton at home, it's not the time to do so. Whenever it's more of a 50-50, I always am going to take that risk like I have in previous years. And obviously, like, you know enough about FPL to make that statement, because you're not going to get the high ranks that I did in previous years without taking risks. For me, it's about taking those risks at the right time, and I just don't think now is the right time for me to take that risk. Jeevan Gill, Southampton were difficult for Liverpool in the reverse fixture and rotation. Southampton are also better away than at home. I mean, this is the type of analysis we need. Like, this is some interesting analysis. When you add on top of that like Liverpool just played, what was it, 3-4 days ago? You're making some sense here, and there's definitely a case to go against Palmer, or even Salah, and go for Palmer captain instead. But for me, I just think, best player in the league against worst defense in the league, I'm going to captain him. It boils down to that for me. So Mohamed again, how about Mateta to Wood? Yeah, I like it. Ndaya to Wissa, I like it. And then benching Dango. Maybe you don't need to do the Ndaya to Wissa right now if you're benching Dango. But if you had all 3 of those players in your team right now, like Wood, Wissa, and Dango, I would start Wood and Wissa and bench Dango. Sanjay Patel, Morton, I have a good starting 11. Good for you, mate. I wish we could all say the same. Plus Gakpo. Do I start Gakpo or Dango? I'd start Dango. I think he'll play. Gakpo will just come on and for like 10 minutes and just take away all your bench points. Thinking of rolling with Gakpo in the team, then use Palmer cash to get Haaland and another 2 City, then wildcard 30 or 31. It sounds like you've got it figured out. So you're in a good spot. I think that sounds like a really good plan. I wouldn't change anything there. Roll and then get Gakpo and Palmer out next week to fund Haaland. Nice one. Play 2 out of João Pedro, Milenkovic, Bruno, Raul. I'd play Pedro and Mikolenko. I know I always say start the attacker instead of the defender, but I just don't think... you know what? yeah, I don't think Bruno will score. I think Fulham will find it hard to score against Brighton. But yeah, I would say yeah, definitely Pedro between Mikolenko, Bruno Fernandes, and Raul. I like Mikolenko. I think they'll keep a clean sheet. With Cunha, then Aminos says, with Cunha in the bench, do I play with four midfielder Salah, Palmer, Kluivert, and Bumo Palmer, Dango benched? Or I keep back four, Arnold, Munoz, Robinson. Yeah, I would start. I wouldn't play a back four. I would play the four midfielders. Right, guys. So I am gonna do my transfers now. Yeah, I'm sorry I haven't gotten to all the questions, but essentially I'm gonna show you guys my my idea for what I'm planning to do with my transfers. Let me very quickly show you my plan. So here we go. Let me show you my plan. We'll go into which defenders I'm looking at. I mean, like, kind of hard to show you guys this, I'll just show you through here. So essentially, my plan this week, I was deciding between who to get in for Hull, and at the end of the day, I just think I want to keep Gakpo, because if I replace Gakpo, then if I get Wood in for Gakpo, which would be the plan, no pun intended, I'll have to bench Wissa or Kluivert. I'd probably end up benching Wissa, and I'm not sure Wood outscores Wissa. But then the question becomes, is my Hall replacement going to outscore Wood plus Wissa, or Wissa, sorry. So I think I'm going to have to get rid of Hall. And it makes sense because he's not playing, whereas Gakpo could, I'm going to get rid of him next week anyways, but I don't want to create a benching headache for myself. And when I look at my defense, I just think I need to fix this. So I'm going to make the transfer now. So the plan is to get rid of Hall. Who to get in for Hall? These are the questions that plague my mind. I like Vardio as a pick, and I have the exact money to afford him. So I do think they could keep a clean sheet this week. They could keep a clean sheet against Brighton, and then it's Leicester at home, which I really like, And Gvardiol is extremectly attacking. When we look at, I'll just use the FPL interface for now in terms of, looking at the data. But I'm going to go by expected goal involvement for defenders, right? And I know it's not per 90, but lads, Gvardiol is up there. He's up there. And my other two replacements for him, one was Milenkovic, and I do really like Milenkovic as a pick as well. If we look at his fixtures, boys, he's got some great fixtures. Okay, ignore Man City at home. I do think they'll concede, but there's always a chance they don't. And then Ipswich away, Man United at home. I could see 2 clean sheets for Forest there, for sure. I just think if I want someone in this game week, I'd prefer Gvardiol, and he's just so attacking right now. So I'm going to go for Gvardiol. That's the plan. So let me make this transfer real quick. I will confirm the transfer. Hold to Gvardiol, and we make that move. Let me start Gvardiol over Castagne. Save the team. I'm going to keep Gakpo benched. And the plan essentially now is, should I start Kirkes or Robinson? And when I look at, my team, the clean sheet odds here, between Bournemouth and Fulham, there's only a 2% difference in the bookies odds for a clean sheet. But that 2% difference does make a world of difference. It's just let me at least swap these guys so I can figure that out. What is the chances that, that Kirkes outscores Robinson? I feel like I have this benching headache every single week, and I just don't know what approach to take with it. But let me hear what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. Leave a comment in the chat, what would you say is, who's going to keep a clean sheet, Robinson or Kirkes? And I just don't know who to start. I do like Robinson just because he gets forward. Let's look at Brighton's form here. We'll go on FootMob here. This is a nice website I like to use just to look at football scores, stuff like that. It's loading a bit slowly today, but so mate, they're in some form. Brighton, 2 goals there, 2 goals there, 4 goals there, 3 goals, 2 goals. They haven't scored less than 2 goals in the past 5 games. Boys, like, should I start? Like, and then we look at Spurs, you know? Then we look at Spurs, and it's like, look at that. They didn't score against AZ. They haven't scored in the past 2 games. Okay, yeah, they scored 4 against Ipswich. Scored 1 against United, 1 against Villa. Didn't score against Liverpool. Obviously, Liverpool are very tough to score against. Yeah, I mean, fuck. Should I just start Kirkes instead of Robinson? I think I'll do that. Oh, Kirkes against Bournemouth. Away in Spurs Stadium. Like, another thing I'll look at is, like, clean sheet percentages. So, like, FBref for the Premier League. This is another great website for stats, by the way, guys. Like, I know we have 5 minutes to go on the deadline, by the way. Keep that in mind for your own teams. So if we look at expected goals conceded or allowed, Fulham are like 3rd in the league. Like, they have such good expected data. Compare that to Bournemouth. Like, boys, like, Fulham is a better defense. Then we consider expected goals. I'll also highlight Spurs here, and I'm already forgetting who. Yeah, Brighton is the other team to look at. So, like, Spurs have a better attack than Brighton, and Bournemouth have a worse defense than Fulham. So, like, based off that, I should start the Fulham defender. It's just about, like, another thing I like to look at is, like, clean sheets. How many clean sheets does each team have? I know it's like a base level sort of stat, but when you look at it, Bournemouth have 6, Fulham have 4. So, like, although Fulham have better expected goals conceded data, Fulham have better expected goals conceded data than Bournemouth, but they have less clean sheets. Both defenders, I should say, are very attacking. So that's one last thing we should consider is, like, defenders. We'll go defenders, and then we'll look at expected goal involvement. Like, who's the more attacking defender? And we'll highlight them now. So that's Robinson is here, and Kirkes. Is he even on the first page? Like, he is, yeah. 2.3. So if we look at his expected goal involvement per 90, let me just bring this out for you guys to see, or you can't see it on this page, but I'll say it out loud. Expected goal involvement per 90 for Kirkes is 0.09, whereas for Robinson it is 0.12. Am I going to regret this? I'm basing this decision off the fact that I think Spurs are in worse form than Brighton currently. That's what I'm basing the decision off. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Should I start Kirkes or Robinson? That's maybe I can, like, make a poll or something. Can I? Oh yeah, I'll start a poll. Here we go. I've not actually done this before on stream. Start Robinson or Kirkes? Robinson, Kirkes. Start poll. All right, get those answers in, lads. Currently, I have Kirkes starting, but we'll see if that stays on. Robinson all day. Lloyd says Sanjay Robinson all day. Yeah, Sanjay. But look who Brighton played. So fair. Like they have not played the best opposition. Although they did play Chelsea twice and, like, scored against them. Yeah, it's probably got to be Robinson. Like, I've had Robinson starting all week, and now it's like, which one do I go for? Everyone's also saying start Kirkes. That's interesting. You know what? I'll do one last thing. It's 58 minutes. I'm gonna go on Betfair and see. Can you see, like, Premier League? Is there, like, another way I can see clean sheet odds? Because the one I've been using is so close. Like, the difference between those is so close. I think I'm gonna regret this, but I'm gonna go back to Robinson. I just think Fulham have a better, more solid defense. Brighton, I look at their team and I'm like, are they going to keep a clean sheet? Are they going to keep a clean sheet against Brighton? Like, they're in some amount of form. They've not been playing any chumps, you know, like Newcastle, Bournemouth, Chelsea twice. Poof. Do I want to? Do I want to do that? Fulham are really good away from home. I'm gonna back it. I'm gonna back it. I think Spurs find a bit of form after that AZ game. Yeah, Kirkez, I'll bench him. Everyone, 1 minute until the deadline. 1 minute. Um, yeah, sort your teams out. Sort your teams out. You only have 1 minute, if even. Let's see. Yeah, and the deadline has just ended there. So, guys, hopefully everyone, you locked your teams in time. I know the poll said to go for Kirkez, but I swapped back to Robinson last minute. So we got 27 votes, which is enough. Tottenham might win, says Offside Footy. Injured Wolf Syndrome. They did lose to AZ. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's why I was kind of worried about like benching Kirkez. Spurs could rest players as well, Sanjay. Ooh, you think so? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's a tough one. Like, I know it's not the biggest. Yeah, like maybe like both of them end up blanking. Maybe like Kirkez ends up scoring, or like getting an assist and a clean sheet. In which case, I would be absolutely devastated. But that's FPL for you, isn't it? That is FPL. Greg, cheers, lad. Great content this season. Good luck this game week. You too. Good luck, lad. Hopefully, all goes well for everyone. Um, yeah, we'll wait and see what the starting lineups look like. I'll probably have to go in the next 5-10 minutes, as I've actually got a football match myself. Just a quick update. Oh, Ian Arsify says Spurs have a fit squad now. Rests don't matter that much. Yeah, I would say at the same time, while they do have a fit squad, they are always absolutely riddled with injuries this season. So maybe they look at that 1-0 loss to AZ and think, boys, we need to lock this up. We need to absolutely be 100% good to go. You know, in Europe instead. They may focus on Europe instead of the Prem. I mean, the Prem is absolutely gone for them at this stage, anyways. Like, they're not going to get the only chance they have, now that I think about it, the only chance they really have of getting into Europe next season is by winning the Europa League. So I'd say that's what they're going to do. Focus on the Europa League. Quick update on the poll between Robinson and Kirkez. 45% Robinson, 55% for Kirkez. I went with Robinson, so hopefully I'm right and the majority of you are wrong. Eric, you also went Robinson over Kirkez. Let's cross our fingers. Yeah, Sanjay, Spurs will prioritise Europe for sure. Yeah. So maybe I should have just gone for Kirkez, but we will see. Jules, Obi, great content as per. Cheers and best of luck this game week. Thanks very much. Good luck to you too. Appreciate the kind words. I think Offside Footy, I think Vardiol goal is written this game week. Great choice. Good luck, mate. Yeah, I mean, it was the decision was made easy for me by the fact that Gvardiol was 5.9 mil and I had 5.9 mil in the bank. So I was like, has to be Gvardiol. Has to be. I remember like last season, I got him in for the final stretch of the season and he just went on a run. He went on an absolute streak and shot me up the ranks. So I'm kind of going to try relive that moment now. Sanjay, best FPL content out there. Thank you. Jeez, I don't know about that. There is some pretty good content creators out there, but yeah, I'm always trying to switch things up and do things my way. So appreciate the kind message, Sanjay. Good to have you in the stream today. You were very active, which I always like to see. Yeah. Ian Arsify says, priority or not, it's not like they're throwing matches on purpose. Yeah. Goes without saying. Bournemouth punched above their weight for a while. Yeah. I mean, Bournemouth do have to go away to Spurs at the end of the day. So, like, it's never going to be an easy fixture. You would say, like, Fulham against Brighton away, you're not going to say, like, oh, yeah, massive favourites Brighton are, you know, compared to Spurs against Bournemouth. But at the same time, Spurs are in a bad way, Brighton are in a really good way. So it's a tough one. Based off current form, I probably would have gone Kirkez, but based off the historical XG conceded this season, I just had to go for Fulham. And like they're due a clean sheet. Clean sheet. They are really good away from home as well. So yeah, that's I'm just trying to justify my decision essentially at the end of the day. But looking at my squad, I'm really excited for this game week. I'm looking forward to how things go. We'll see how the team gets on. I'm I'm hopeful for, you know, a Man United blank so I can get double Arsenal clean sheet. We'll see if that actually, if my wishes do come true. Yeah, I think there's a good chance they do, to be honest. At the same time, Man United can always come away with a sneaky goal. Gvardiol against Nottingham Forest away. I must say another reason I went for Gvardiol because Wood plays for Forest, as we all know, and essentially my idea was like I don't have Wood, so I'm like maximizing my rank gain in the sense that if Gvardiol keeps a clean sheet, that means Wood doesn't score, and like Wood has just been ruining my rank every single game week. So if he doesn't score, that means Gvardiol, or if Gvardiol keeps a clean sheet, it means Wood doesn't score. So like my rank just, it's just such a big rank gain if that happens. Alternatively, Gvardiol, concedes. One of my other two replacements, like Aitneri or Milenkovic, who I was considering getting in for Hull, they keep a clean sheet. Obviously, everything can always go wrong. We'll see how it goes, but I think maximizing my points potential with getting Gvardiol and hoping Wood doesn't score. Gvardiol keeps a clean sheet, maybe gets a cheeky goal or an assist. We will see how it goes. Before you guys go as well, I know there's just one last thing I wanted to say, which was that I'm actually going to be on FPL Raptors FPL Therapy podcast this week, which I'm really excited for. Like, I can't wait to do that. And yeah, he's a massive streamer, and his videos are class. Like, his videos are great. So I'm looking forward to that. His content is amazing. I can't wait to, be a part of it, be a part of that podcast, hop on for one episode and see how it goes. Really looking forward to it. So keep an eye out for FPL Therapy's podcast. Next week, I believe next Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll be discussing everything about blank game week 29. So that is the plan. Yeah, I think, guys, I will leave it there. How many of you are still here? There's a few of you now. Let me just check and say goodbye to the rest of you that are remaining. It's still 30 odd of you now. So yeah, guys, appreciate it. Leave a comment down below if you're still here and say goodbye. Jack, I capped Haaland and benched Salah for Cunha. Mate, go for it. Like, Captain Haaland, that's a massive differential this game week. It's Haaland. At the end of the day, it's Haaland. Like, he can always score. So I back it. Benching Salah for Cunha, on the other hand. I mean, you're just sitting there praying that Salah doesn't play. And, like, you have some massive balls, Jack. I cannot say I have. Your balls are much bigger than mine for doing that. That is an insane play. Benching Salah against the worst defense in the league. You just gotta hope that he gets benched. Offside footy. Looking forward to seeing you over there, Stephen. Yeah, good luck. Thanks very much. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'll be absolutely chuffed after that. I can't wait to get on that podcast and just chat shite about FPL for an hour or so. So that should be fun. Nelson, thanks for coming along. Cheers for leaving a few messages in the chat. Good to see that. So yeah, good luck this game week. Guys, I'm gonna head on now. So yeah, say goodbye now in the chat, and I'll leave my farewell messages. Good to have everyone, and yeah, have a good game week. All right, guys. Till next time. Have a good one.